Turn it up.
From the YBA Phoenix Fitness 24/7 basketball facility in Rockland, California, it's Coach's Rize Time with Coach C. Collins.
Get it started. 3, 2, 1.
Coach's Rize Time.
Yep, it's that time again. It's Coach's Rize Time with Coach C. Collins, where I talk a little basketball, give some insight, give my personal opinion as a coach. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoy it. If you are a supporter and a fan, I appreciate you big time for continuing to check me out. Of course, we have the main show, which is About That Life podcast. Please feel free to go check that out after you listen to this, or keep combing through listening to the Coach's Rize Time. If you're here, I'm assuming you're a basketball fanatic. I'm assuming you're here to get a little bit of knowledge, maybe even hear my perspective. Maybe I add some nuggets for you, or you think I'm a fool and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But before we get into that, let me appreciate our sponsors. We have Dr. Dish, best shooting machine on the market. West Coast Legends, they can handle all your jersey needs. Hit up Danae or Marcus, they got you. And the links for this will all be in the description. And of course, last but not least, Zennify. They are a business marketing program that can help elevate your business and your websites to the next level. The links to these guys will be in the description, so please feel free to check them out and let them know Coach C. Collins sent you. On today's topic, we are going to talk a lot of numbers and a lot of analytics. But before, again, we get into that, please feel free to hit that follow button. You know, if you go on the YouTube and type in About That Life, hit that subscribe and follow notification. Increase our views. Hey, I would love to hear your perspective. Feel free to DM. Feel free to give your insight or a topic you want me to talk about. I'm very receptive, and I try to be open to anybody who wants that personal relationship, or even if you're interested in collabing or coming on the show, please feel free to reach out, or, you know, don't at all. Hopefully I give you some good insight and some things to look at. As I said before, the topic is about analytics. I really think kids and parents are going to benefit a lot from this episode. I believe a lot of coaches, even AAU coaches, for sure, you know, high school coaches, we have kind of a conceptual understanding of what I'm about to talk about. But I wanted to approach this with actual facts, figures, statistics, numbers, and supportive evidence. The links for the things that I am citing will be in the description as well. Feel free to look at the website yourself and come up with your own analysis. It's really to make sure everybody understands and kind of knows what is the true mountain you have to climb for you aspiring collegiate athletes in order to make that happen. Marketing, social media has transformed the venue in which athletes can be presented. Before, it was just, you know, you sent out DVDs or VHS tapes, and, you know, you had your high school coach was the most important guy because he had to know somebody. Clearly, the dynamic has shifted between the overtime league and the G League, and just, you know, social media as a whole, the hype machines of Simply Basketball, Ball is Life, Ballers Bridge, overtime. You know, it's created a huge platform that not every kid is going to even be able to make it to college, even with that. But it does give them all a great fighting chance, a fighting chance that they didn't necessarily have before. So I do want to break down some of the analytics, so we do have an understanding of kind of this hill we're climbing. And I really think you athletes, especially, are going to get the most out of this episode. I think you need to hear it. I think you need to know, you know, knowledge is power. You don't need this esoteric, you know, hey, you're going to make it if you work hard. Someone will notice you if you try your hardest. That's not realistic. You have to have a plan, a mapped out scenario. Don't get me wrong. There are the outliers. They are the stories. They're the NBA, you know, dream teams. The Caruso from the Lakers. Look at his journey. You know what I mean? There are those outliers, but I would be hard pressed to think that he didn't have a plan, that he just blindly kept going and somehow it happened. No, I'm sure at some point he knew numbers, figures, and said, you know what? I'm going to attack this with an analytic mind, a logical mind, a factual mind, and I'm going to make this happen. So the first thing I want to throw at you is, let's talk about just the sheer number of high school athletes. Now, mainly in this part of the show, I'm going to mainly refer to the CIF in California, because obviously that's the state I live in, and California is clearly a huge state. I believe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we have 42 or 45 Division two and Division threes, like 22 or 20 something Division twos and 20 something Division threes. We'll talk about Division one, of course, and junior colleges. I think there's about 98 in California, but again, I could be wrong on those figures. I didn't research those because I'm going to talk more about all across the nation. But as far as high school wise, I do have narrowed down numbers for the CIF and California high school athletes. Also, disclaimer: take this with a little grain of salt because the figures on different sites are different, but they're generally in the same ballpark. So one figure might say that there's 546,000 high school athletes active. And then another site might say 547,000 high school athletes are active. Well, clearly you see that's not a huge drastic difference. So that's what I mean by just take it with a small grain of salt. Every single figure is not exact, but it's damn close, okay? So for the 2019-2020 CIF Governance Annual Report, and this is a PDF you can find on the internet on the CIF website. CIF is California Interscholastic Federation. You are more than welcome to find it. For 2019-2020, it is said, or they said, as far as active boys in playing basketball, it was 47,675 participants. Girls, 34,368 participated. Again, this is in California, and also for active for essentially, 2019-2020, last year, not essentially, but for 2019-2020. So we'll get into the percentages of everything that make it, but let's understand that that's the figure of athletes participated. So we do have to take this figure of 47,000 and condense it in by 1/3, because you have to assume most schools are going to have a freshman team, a JV team, and a varsity team. Most schools, not all of them, but most. So 1/3 of that, let's just say, is varsity, just to give it a nice clean slice. That 1/3 figure is 15,892 varsity athletes active. Essentially, let's just say last year, right? Almost 16,000 athletes, varsity athletes in California were active for last year. This is on the annual report. Total athletes in general of all sports for the CIF annual report was 815,313. Again, take that figure with a grain of salt. Might have been more, might have been less, but let's just say roughly, 800K athletes were active last year. So it's a huge population of athletes between boys and girls all over that, and that's just the state of California. So roughly speaking, high school athletes that will make it Division I, and these stats come from collegesportsscholarship.com. So, again, I will connect the links. You can check it out yourself, make your own deductions, but these are the figures and the numbers. NCAA roughly says 3% of high school athletes will play Division I basketball. Now, again, I'm mainly focusing on the boys side, and because that's mainly the side I coach. Coach Ted or someone else, I think, did a great analysis on his IG Live when it came to the girls. And this information is on there as well for the girls and boys. But mainly I'm going to focus primarily on the boys side. So 3% will play Division I basketball. Again, as I said, this was from collegesportscholarships.com. So high school to pro athletes, and we're talking NBA, not overseas, just high school to pro athletes, is 0.03%. These stats are taken from the NCAA.org. So this is from their analysis, and I'm going to get on their actual website and analysis as well. But they say 0.03% will make it pro from high school. From NCAA to pro is 1.2%. NCAA active freshmen is 4,735. This is not just California. This is NCAA across the board, Division I. Division I seniors is 3,682. Drafted from the NCAA roughly is usually 44 per year. So even still, there's 60 guys drafted. all 60 aren't going to be from NCAA. Roughly, it's anywhere from 40 to 45 per year. As far as varsity active seniors, it is roughly guessed per year, it's 156,000 active varsity seniors across the country. And total varsity athletes across the country is 546,335. So again, it seems like, whoa, there's a bunch of athletes. But again, you got to break and divide all this down. And the percentages were right there. Like I said, 0.03% get to make it pro, get to make it to the NBA. That means you have to be special. That means you have to be really, truly special. And those who, from even, again, the NCAA to pro is 1.2%. So you have to be the best of the best. You know, so I want kids and parents not to be discouraged, but take this and understand you have to go into it with a plan of attack. You have to have a support system. You have to be invested. You have to have a great coach, a great marketing scheme, a great AAU entity that knows what they're doing. Hence, something I pride myself on YBA. We're going to move on to some other stats from, well, you know what? Before we even move on to those stats, let's talk about what does it take to even be a collegiate athlete or be in the ballpark of being a collegiate athlete? Well, Division I academic requirements. You need 4 years of English, 3 years of math, 2 years of natural physical science, 1 additional class, whether it be English, math, or whatnot, 2 years of social science, and of course, additional 4 years of additional courses. That's, you know, if you're not handling the books, you hurt yourself drastically. Even let's just talk Division II. Division II currently requires 16 core courses. This is from the NCAA official, NCAA.org official website. Division II currently requires a minimum SAT of 820 or an ACT score of 68. Beginning August, this is from August 2018. Division II uses a sliding scale. You know, you're testing your core scores, your GPA, all of that plays a factor. So, you know, without the grades, man, it's just tough. You're not going to make it. The higher the GPA, the better. You know what I mean? 3.3 or above is where you want to be cumulatively, not one freaking semester, fellas. Like, you got to actually make this happen cumulatively. Moving on from that, you know, let's talk 2020. Let's just talk, you know, the overall 2020 odds. This is from scholarshipstat.com. This is where I get these analytics, and let's break some of this down. So overall, and you could look it up, you could just literally type it in, you know, what percentage of high school athletes are going to play college. But overall, 7% of high school athletes, that's 1 in 13, will play college at any level. 2%, that's about 1 in 57, will play Division I. That's kind of a universal thing across the board, but we're going to break that down even further to make it even make more sense. So for boys, active boys, again, in the U.S., scholarshipstat.com says there's 547,892. That differs from the collegesportsscholarship.com that says there are 546,000. So again, that's where I would say rough grain of salt. Some programs say a little more, some say a little less, but overall, let's just say it's 550,000 in the U.S. all playing active males. This is on the boys' side, playing boys basketball. 550,000 active college players, and this is college players. This is college players amongst the entire board, not just Division I. There's 33,688. So let's just round up and say 34,000. 5.8 U.S. players will make it at any spot in college. 5.8% of U.S. basketball players will make it at any spot in college. Again, that differs from the original statement of 7% high school athletes, 1 in 13. But again, like I said, take some of these figures up and down across the board, but 5.8 to 7%, let's just say it's anywhere from 5 to 7%. Okay. 0.9 U.S. players will get a spot at the Division I. We'll get at the Division I level. Again, 1 in 17 at any college. It's actually more like 1 out of 105 will play at the D1 level. So really understand the leap to be a Division I athlete is pretty tough. Just to get an offer or get a nod or get looked at is supremely outstanding. If you are in that boat, if you're in that situation, any of you athletes, congratulations. That's a phenomenal job to get noticed at that level. But also, any of you guys getting looked at by any college, whether it be JC all the way up to Division I, you really need to understand that that is a great thing. I myself work in marketing and making that happen, so I really do my best to try to, make YBA an entity that people can trust. Also, oops, sorry about that. Also, I do know plenty of people trust my coaching, so therefore, I'm able to advocate for my guys at a different level. Coaches, you need to ensure that that is something you're doing for your athletes because you are the marketer. Coaching and winning is not enough. Let's just sidetrack. Let's make that clear. Coaching and dubs is not enough to get recognition. AAU coaches, your program has to market and sell your guys. It costs money. You have to fundraise. You have to talk to parents, and you have to sit down and have real conversations. It's an investment. Remember, it's an investment. You can't think of it as a sacrifice. It's an investment. You're going to invest time. You're going to invest money. But the overall payoff is you're one of those 7%. You're one of those 5 to 7%. You get to live the elite dream. Remember, that means something. That has to mean something to you because I know it damn sure meant something to me. But moving on, let's talk, California colleges. Let's break some more numbers down so people understand as far as the college players, the college level, and all the things that are going. This is statistics taken from the NCAA official site. I will mention those statistics as well, but this is still on scholarshipstats.com. Again, the links will be there. Check it out yourself. There are let's just break down all the numbers. In California alone, there are 178 colleges with basketball teams. 178. That's between JC, NAI, Division 2 and 1, and NCAA Division 3, NCAA Division 2, and NCAA Division 1. Now let's break down across the country how many teams there are. There are 354 Division 1 teams. Each and every single one have a basketball team. There are 307 Division 2s. 304 have basketball teams. There are 444 Division 3s. 426 have basketball teams. At the NAI level, there's 94 Division 1 NAIs. All 94 have basketball teams. At NAI Division 2, there's 143 schools, right? 139 have basketball teams. At the JC level, there are 437 JCs. Across the country, 433 have basketball teams. Independent 4 years, like let's say a Lincoln University, Gary Payton's new school, that isn't established in a conference or a division, but they do have a basketball team. There are 105 schools like that with 104 basketball teams. The 2 years, there's some 2 years that are very similar, or not very similar, the exact same as that situation. There's 137, 133 of them have basketball teams. So in total, there's 2,021 colleges. 1,987 of them have basketball teams. And that's seems like a lot across the U.S., but it's really not when you think about all these are spread all over the U.S., and you have just a sheer number of athletes. Again, remember, you have almost over 500,000 athletes, and only 5 to 7% of them are going to make it at the collegiate level. That's really not a lot. And let's even talk about scholarships, because obviously that's the biggest thing that these kids are fighting for. At the Division I level, they are allowed to give out 13 scholarships. Let's assume at the D1 these are all full rides, but not every school can give a full ride. So we're talking scholarship at any level, whether it's 10%, 50%, 70%, 80%. So 13 of them at the D1 level, 10 of them at the D2 level. There are no scholarships given at the Division III level, but yet there are 426 teams that all don't give scholarships. They are high academic schools. Division threes find other ways to get money, whether it be boosters, whether it be through financial aid, whether it be academic scholarships. So keep that in mind for you Brainiac kids. You can be a college All-American and still have a great time doing it, and you'll probably win in life going to a Division three. I know I have a kid named Milo that I'm pushing to go to Caltech. He's going to end up, he's going to end up somebody's boss, and he's going to end up building a skyscraper that we're all going to use 50 years from now. So, think about that, coaches, when you're thinking about your athletes. What are their strengths, and how can you, market that? NAI, they can give out a Division I. They can give out 11 scholarships. NAI Division II, 7 scholarships. At the JC level, they can give out 15. And then, there's average rosters and roster sizes, but even still, they give 15. The other 4 years and 2 years, it's kind of a tricky situation. If they have the money, they can get scholarships. If they don't, then they don't. But they kind of maneuver there and figure that out. So even still, there's not a lot of scholarships out there given. You really have to work and, be willing to be that guy to really push and make that happen for yourself. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you. Again, I'll throw the links if you just want to check it out yourself. Parents, I suggest you do it. You know what I mean? It's not going to hurt you. This is let me refer to the NCAA official site. This is what they say: as estimated probability of competing in collegiate athletes. Nearly 8 million students currently participate in high school athletes in the United States. More than 480,000 compete as NCAA athletes, and just a select few within each sport move on to compete at the professional or Olympic level. The table down shows how many high school and NCAA athletes compete in each sport, along with an estimate of the percentage of high school athletes going to compete in the NCAA. So in basketball, here we are back to that figure. 540,000 is what they say in this one, basically 541,000. Again, grain of salt, because I believe this chart was taken from 2019. And this is for basketball. They don't break it down. Or this is for men. Sorry, this is for the men's side. NCAA participants, it's 18,816. That overall percentage high school to NCAA is 3.5, so was even lower back then. High school to NCAA Division I is 1%. High school to Division II is 1%. High school to NCAA Division III is 1.4%. So again, if you're getting offers, if you're getting interest, if you have anybody looking at you, congratulations. You guys have done a phenomenal job. I am proud of you. I love to watch you shine. I love to watch young brothers shine. And if you are a coach that's making that happen, whether you are getting the praise or not, let me give you your flowers, because you're doing a fucking damn good job. So I want you guys to know that what we do is, hold on, let me slow that down. Let me say that again. Let me repeat that again. Coaches, whether you like me, don't like me, I still congratulate you for helping young men and women to aspire to get their dream in order to help them become better than themselves. Let me give you a round of applause. You are phenomenal. And again, you could hate me, you could like me, we could be cool, we could not be cool, you could not know who the hell I am. But I hope any coach or any person who hears this across the country know that you are doing a phenomenal job. But again, let's get back to the subject at hand. With all the numbers and figures I've thrown at you, you see it is hard, gentlemen. It is hard. You are not going to make your dream happen simply because you want it. I don't care if your parents tell you you're special. You're not special until you prove you're special. You have to prove you're that 1%. You have to prove you're the dog that they believe you are. It all comes down to fit. It all comes down to work. And do you have that dog in you? Are you really willing to work? Are you really willing to make it happen? I talk about this and I talk passionate about it because I want you to know about it. The numbers, the truth, it has to come from you. You have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to invest. You have to be willing to take the extra time. You have to be willing to do what everybody else is not willing to do. Anybody who lies to you and tells you different, don't listen to it. It's just not true. It comes down to you have to be who you are, and you have to be willing to invest in yourself. If you're going to bet on yourself. Parents, take these figures for you people who are so overzealous about how your fourth grader is considered one of the elite and top fourth graders in the country. It doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything. It just gives them good praise. It gives them good confidence. It helps him maybe motivate him. But it doesn't mean anything in the grand scheme of things. They have to keep the work ethic. They have to keep being humble. They have to keep staying hungry. They have to keep looking and searching. It's the idea of perfection. You're never going to be perfect, but you search and you strive for the idea of it. If you can keep your kids able to do that, coaches, if you can keep your group motivated to do that, you will help these kids get to their collegiate dream. That's the goal. That's what it's all about. That's what we try to do. That's what I try to do. So I hope you all heard this. I hope it all makes sense. I appreciate you if you took this Coach's Corner. This is one of my longer episodes, but I knew these figures had to be out there. I don't think enough coaches talk about this. I hope if you do enjoy this content, you'll hit that follow the IG. You follow me on my own personal IG. Keep helping these athletes, man. Like, I hope you athletes are listening. I believe in you. Even if you don't like me, even if you think, man, that light-skinned coach with the tattoos, fuck him. Like, it's cool. I don't have hate for you. I want to see you shine wherever you are, whoever you are. Because I love the game of basketball. I love the competition. I love watching people bridge gaps through sports. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Coach's Rize Time. I know I sound pretty passionate about it, but it's because I am. I'm a factual, logical-based thinker. I'm a Sigma Alpha male. I think. I'm intrinsic. I use numbers and analysis to help my kids move forward. And I think you should use the same. Let your kids know the mountain they're going to climb. There is a mountain. Whether you go up it fast or you go up it slow, there is a mountain. There's no way around it. And if you want to get to the peak, which clearly could be the NBA or professionally, you have to have a couple things going for you. You got to be intelligent. You got to have a plan. You got to have genetics. Yes, sorry, genetics plays a factor. If you're not born with the genetics, you better work your ass off, right? You got to be smart. That's the strategy. But the biggest thing you have to do is be humble. Not humble to the point where you don't believe in yourself, but humility to understand that you are not done. Perfection is what we strive for, but never achieve. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please hit that follow button. Everybody have a safe day. Listen to this whenever you're ready, and keep combing through the rest of the shows, and I'm out.